Hi, this is lesson 6 in our mini program, Performing Under Pressure. My name is Jacob, and this lesson is on daily shape. So, not all days look the same. Some days are full of energy, and other days they don't go as planned, at least not for me. And so I try to be very conscious of this. If I beat myself up on the days that things are not going very well, it has a tendency to affect what comes after, even the next day, in a bad way. If I beat myself up, I typically eat worse food. I don't go to bed at the time I should at night, and a bunch of other stuff. So I try to be conscientious of days where I'm not feeling like I'm being productive, which is something that typically stresses me out. And so if I've done all the right things, I'm still not in good shape that day. I employ some different strategies in order to get the most out of that day. If you're a couple, it's even more important because you might have a lot of plan that you want to have happen, and then one person is in a bad shape that day. It might be you realize it in the morning, or it's when they come home after work, and so on and so forth. So psychologist and researcher Brendon Brown has developed this nice little strategies that she uses with her husband. And basically it goes like this: every day in the morning or when they come home from work, they ask themselves, what is your battery level? What is your energy level? And they can have a combined of 200%. So if I'm 100% and the other person is 100%, we have a combined 200%. But the trick is that they have to have a combined 100%. So I come home, I say, I'm at 80. My partner comes home and says she's at 20, and then we're fine. But let's say I was at 70 and she was at 20. We're not fine anymore. We're under 100. And that means that now we have to ask ourselves, what do we need to do different? Are the plans we need to cancel? Do we do takeaway as opposed to cook ourselves? And so on and so forth. So we need to ask ourselves, what is the right strategy to deal with the fact that we're not at 100% combined? So for me, there are 3 things that have saved me being under a lot of pressure in terms of dealing with my daily shape. The first one is being overly disciplined with to-do lists. So if I'm really stressed out and not performing as I was hoping, and so on and so forth, I sometimes, even in the middle of the day, I redo my to-do list and I prioritize it, and then I make a conscious decisions based on my shape. What is realistic for me to get done? And then I try to focus on that so I can feel good about myself, even though it's not what I planned the day before, and so on. The second thing is taking naps. Took me years to accept the value of taking a nap during the day. But then I read a book on, I can't remember what it was called, but there was a lot of examples of how to get, it was called Rest. How to get the most out of resting, and how it actually affects your work and your ability to be creative, and so on and so forth. And in this book, there's a story about Winston Churchill and how he took 1.5 hour naps, or 1 to 1.5 hour naps every single day during the war. And I always keep reminding myself that if I wanna deal with the challenges that are in front of me, I need to take a nap just like Winston Churchill did. And then taking a day off for real. So sometimes I get to like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, and I am like not even half where I should be at the time, and I'm just realizing it's not going to be a day for me. Sometimes it's like if I have too much pain, if I've only slept a couple of hours due to pain or something like that. And once in a while, I think then it's important to take a day off for real. So if you're in that place, try and see if you can take a day off for real, so that instead of like having a bad day where you're not actually getting any kind of restorative rest, you actually cut whatever you were doing, you hit the brake, you stop, you get real rest for the rest of the day, and then you can start over in a much better way the day after. And for me, it's also a good way because I can kind of like then say, oh, this is one of these days. And so I kind of legitimize that it's okay, I'm not going to get anything done that day. So that's the third thing that saved me. The exercise is to create some daily shapes, strategies. So it could be some of the things I've just explained here, but I think it's very different for different people, what stresses them out and how they deal with like not being able to perform on a single day. And so I think what's important first is actually to be able to define like what kind of a day you have, so that you can take the measures. Is this like a day where I just need to take a nap, or do I need to cut the cord completely on this day, or what do I need to do? So first, try to define the characteristics of a half decent day and of a really bad day. And when you're doing that, you can kind of like get something to hold on to help you make decisions on how to deal with it when you're in that difficult day. And then the second part of the exercise is to define a simple strategy for each of those two kinds of days. So what will you do if you're feeling out of shape on that particular day, like this or like that? Will you take a nap? Will you go for a walk? What is it that will help you kind of like re-energize to get stuff done, or simply make sure at least that the day after is going to be good? So try and figure out what your strategy is for your daily shape. If you do this, I promise that you will get more out of your days, especially the difficult ones.